Way back in 1859, Charles Darwin startled the world by publishing his famous, many might say infamous, book titled On the Origin of Species, which laid out his theory of evolution. You may know that at the end of his life, Charles Darwin was an atheist. However, that was not always the case. Darwin was raised in the Anglican Church and even considered at some point in his life becoming a clergyman. Many people believe Darwin lost his faith because he believed in evolution. But that is incorrect. To the end of his life, Darwin insisted that evolution was completely compatible with the Christian faith. It was bad religion that caused Darwin to become an atheist. For example, when his beloved daughter died at the age of 10, Darwin blamed God. And perhaps he heard such useless advice as, God needed another angel, or you must have done something wrong. He could not believe in a God that killed off 10-year-old children, or a God that condemns different groups of people and others to hell, or a literal view of Scripture, or a dogmatic opposition to scientific inquiry. Science is not intended to get rid of God. Science would be the first to admit it has no way to measure or to discover the existence or non-existence of God. In the end, it wasn't science that made Charles Darwin an atheist, but rather bad religion that was to blame. Unfortunately, there continues to be a lot of bad religion out in the world, and it still causes people to lose their faith. For example, think of all those young Muslim men and women who blow themselves up along with dozens of innocent people, all in the name of God. Think about all those Roman Catholic priests who molested children and all the bishops who covered it up. Think about the Protestants, like Westboro Baptists, who spew hateful rhetoric at LGBTQ plus persons, even claiming God shares their hatred for these individuals. Perhaps you have seen on the news from time to time a minister or religious leader who announces or shares a video praying daily for the death of a president or a government official, or condemns a partisan group as avowed enemies of God. It is bad religion like this that turns many people away from the Christian faith. A growing number of self-identified new atheists argue that since religion can be so toxic, we need to get rid of faith altogether. However, even if we wanted to, we are not going to get rid of religion. Many of the most oppressive regimes of the 20th century openly declared and established themselves as atheist states, including the Soviet Union, Mao's Cultural Revolution in China, the Khmer Rouge of Cambodia, and the ongoing regime in North Korea. But history strongly suggests that you cannot stamp out faith. And it seems that humankind can be motivated to do evil things to one another without religion even being a motive. Yes, thousands have been killed in some name of religion, or at least in campaigns or causes that sought religious consent or blessing to justify either its necessity or motives. Just as many people are willing to kill in the name of a political leader or party, a nation or country, philosophy, or economic system. Somehow all people seem to be hardwired to seek something that gives purpose and meaning to their lives, and some way to control that which seems to be out of our control. And despite the hope of many atheists, ridding the world of religion is simply not practical. But to consider religion, perhaps it would be good to examine what religion offers us. Mahatma Gandhi said, "The various religions are like different roads converging on the same point. What difference does it make if we follow different routes, provided we all arrive at the same destination?" You've probably seen the bumper sticker that uses religious symbols to spell out the word coexist. This is a popular and lovely sentiment, but like all sentiments, it ignores each religion's unique teachings, culture, and historical origins. It simplifies the complexity in an attempt to demonstrate unity and equality. Gandhi got it wrong. It's not an upright mountain, it's an upside down mountain that's the better metaphor for how religion starts, because all religions start from the same point of origin. The starting point is this world that seems to be confused by chaos and plagued by scarcity and corrupted by injustice in one form or another. How do you choose to respond to it? What can we do to limit or change chaos, scarcity, and injustice? Out of these fears, we seek some form of control over the world. Religions offer us this sense of control. Our biology seems to give us only two directions of responding to the world around it: fight or flight. Both responses are rooted in handling fear. Whatever gives you a sense of purpose, meaning, or control to confront or avoid chaos, to confront and avoid scarcity, to confront or avoid injustice, will naturally become our ultimate concern. And I have not met anyone who does not want to find a way to deal with these fears and anxieties in life. Nor am I convinced that their ways or means of control are not effective in confronting or avoiding them. As long as it works, it will do. If your ultimate concern gives you meaning or value, it will keep you satisfied. Yet the more we seek control over an uncontrollable world, the world becomes even more dangerous. But religion is not the problem here. we are. Think for a moment about all the good things that religion does give us. Religion does give us meaning, purpose, and hope for billions of believers around the world. It builds significant relationships and faith communities. It gives people a sense of transcendence. It motivates people to care for others. It promotes responsible ethics and high ideals. It has inspired music, art, and beauty. Can you imagine an art museum without all the religious paintings included? It fosters generosity, law-abidingness, and civic engagement, and even has health benefits. Those who believe in something, who have some organized faith structure, tend to live longer, tend to live better. A world without religion would simply be a bankrupt and impoverished one. And even some atheists agree with this assessment that religion does provide society with many benefits. In a Christian Century magazine interview with Bruce Sheeman, author of An Atheist Defends Religion, Why Humanity is Better Off with Religion Than Without It, Sheeman says, "I don't know if anybody is going to be able to convince me that God exists, but they can convince me that religion has intrinsic value." Even if the world were not better off without religion, however, many people seem to think that religion brings too much baggage with it to consider embracing it themselves. People do not want to be associated with the arrogant, judgmental, closed-minded, anti-gay, anti-women, anti-science, and highly partisan religion they see in so many churches. There's also very few of us that would want to associate with people outside of the church that are arrogant, judgmental, closed-minded, anti-anything, and highly partisan. People do not want to abandon their intellect or integrity to believe in such things as a literal translation of scriptures describing God as petty and violent and the world as much younger than science proves it to be. Perhaps most significantly, people, believers as well as unbelievers, have trouble reconciling this, a loving and powerful God with all the suffering they see in the world. These concerns, while all valid, do not need to create the barrier they do between people and faith. While Christians with the aforementioned toxic characteristics, arrogance, judgment, closed-minded, get a lot of the attention in the world, the vast majority of believers I have encountered are not like that. Likewise, believing in a literal Bible is not as necessary as some people would make you think. A more faithful Christian response is to take the Bible seriously, but not always literally. The Bible never claims to be perfect or, in the words of others, infallible or inerrant. The Bible claims only to be inspired. And while the problem of suffering certainly has no easy and simple answers, Christian believers do have some thoughtful responses in the midst of suffering. And most importantly, that God does not cause suffering. Many times people making terrible decisions cause suffering. Sometimes suffering is the a result of natural forces that make life on this planet possible. I think we all can agree that gravity is a wonderful thing keeping us on the ground. I think at times gravity is our enemy when we fall down because of it, when we didn't want to fall down in the first place. But God is with us in our suffering, comforting us and empowering us to respond to one another's pain with love. When people reject Christianity for any of the reasons discussed above, it is natural for us in the church to feel frustrated, misunderstood, maybe embarrassed. It's easy for us to get defensive, distancing ourselves from fellow believers who embrace beliefs or engage in behaviors we disavow, agreeing with critics of faith so completely that we tend to forget that we offer an alternative with our own story. And we do have a wonderful story to tell. We promote here a religion of grace, not judgment, a religion of love, not hatred, a religion of open-mindedness, not intolerance, a religion of compassion, not legalism, a religion of humility, not arrogance. Living as salt and light, witnesses to the message of Jesus, we can show this true heart of Christianity to all the world. We can shout from the rooftops, there is another option than what you hear in the news, what you see on Facebook, how you've encountered so-called believers. Just because some people practice bad religion does not mean we have to ditch religion altogether. The answer to bad is not no religion. Instead, the answer to bad religion is a good religion. Jesus understood this. In the face of arrogant, judgmental, and legalistic religion of his day, Jesus offered a healthy alternative of humility, grace, mercy, compassion, and justice. As followers of Jesus, we are called to continue sharing his message and demonstrating good religion in a skeptical world. It is easier to catch headlines with bad news and bad behavior. Misinformation and lies are proven to spread quicker than truth. And often we are shadow-boxing stereotypes used to justify prejudice and conceal excuses as reasonable criticism or convictions. But history has shown time and time again that the choice between religion or no religion is like a choice between being shot or being poisoned. Neither system of control can break the cycles of fear and danger that still infect our world. What's wrong with religion? Plenty. What's good about religion? So much more than the bad. Let's journey together to confront bad religion, not without it altogether, but with what and who makes it all good.